The stars had been extinguished. The sky was no longer a place of light, but a void where the end of the world was taking shape. Frieza held their entire future in a single, mocking hand. The king's voice was a command that ignored the crushing gravity. It was a rally for a race that had been dead for too long. The warrior's fire was infectious. The past was no longer watching from the sidelines. It was pouring itself into the present. The air began to scream with two different eras of power. It was a collision of centuries, 4 hearts, 1 legacy, and a power that didn't just feel like strength. It felt like the presence of a god. The very atoms of the battlefield began to glow. "Perish in the silence!" Frieza's voice shrieked from the heavens. The sphere moved down, a slow-motion catastrophe that promised to erase every memory, every dream, and every drop of Saiyan blood. They met the extinction head-on, a shield of pure, desperate will against a sphere of pure, bottomless hate. The shockwave of the impact was felt in the hearts of every soul in the galaxy. The agony was absolute. This was not just a physical weight, it was the weight of every defeat they had ever suffered. The fathers were reaching their end. They weren't just giving their power, they were giving their souls. The past was offering itself as a bridge so that the future could cross over into the light. Suddenly, the dark sun shattered, not from the pressure outside, but from the divine resolve within. The nightmare was torn into 1,000 shards of failing shadow. Frieza was exposed. The world became a kaleidoscope of divine violence. The explosion didn't just level mountains, it leveled the very idea that Frieza was untouchable. The Emperor was finally alone. There was no time for Frieza to breathe. The raw, brutal power of the past met the divine precision of the present, and the Emperor felt the weight of a bloodline he could no longer control. The princes of the Saiyans claimed their vengeance. Every blow carried the weight of every life Frieza had stolen, every world he had burned, and every pride he had tried to crush. The tyrant was losing his mind. The cold logic of his empire was replaced by the frantic, pathetic desperation of a cornered beast fighting for a life he didn't deserve. The end was here. The generations had met, they had bled, and now they stood at the edge of the final truth. Frieza was alone. The Saiyans were finally whole. "Now!" Goku's voice echoed with the weight of a god. With a roar that shook the very foundations of the star system, they unleashed everything they were into a single point of absolute light. There was no mockery this time, only the light of 1,000 suns and the final absolute silence of a tyrant who had run out of time. Frieza was finally gone. The silence was finally peace. The weight of the eras had been lifted. The war was over, but the world was different now. The Saiyans were no longer what they were. They were better. Their task was done. The dragon's gift was temporary, but the legacy they left behind was eternal. The fathers were returning to the dark, but they were no longer ghosts. They were heroes. They were sons again, but they carried the strength of 2 eras in their hearts. The Saiyan legacy was safe, and the future was theirs to protect. Together, the final stand is over, but in the universe of the Saiyans, the end is often just a new beginning. Thank you for watching this journey. The legacy continues.